Hey there, everybody. Happy Friday. We made it to another Friday. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to the channel if you usually hang out with me. If you are new, I'm Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. And I do majority political readings. I check in for the new moon and full moon with a little bit of astrological pick a card readings as well. Today, you all, I wanna go in on my spirit guides, and hopefully you're feeling pulled to it as well. This situation with the Tate brothers, right? Many of you probably heard about that. They were arrested over the weekend, Andrew and Tristan Tate. Some of you will also recall that there was a lot of hoopla. They are like the new, loose association. Well, not loose association here, but bear with me. A comparison to like the new Epstein sort of situation. These are two younger men who are in charge of this whole pimp hole university kind of mentality, the manosphere. They are charged with various allegations in Romania and the UK. The UK, they were arrested this past weekend because of that they're going to be or calling to be extradited to the UK to face charges on, a whole slew of things, Epstein-esque, okay? Here's where it gets interesting. I was looking at some stuff this morning regarding this, and come to find out, you all, the Tate brothers were just in DC last week at the infamous Ned's Club. That's a club that many of you have probably heard about, where, mucho dinero to even get in it. Like it's this super exclusive enclave for the movers and shakers in DC, the Manosphere. So the Tate brothers were just there. So they said, reading some stories like many MAGA-lithics were really surprised that they were arrested over the weekend because they had just been, out there rubbing the elbows and carrying on. They apparently have been said to have a reported relationship with Don Jr. and Barron. Marco Rubio, we understand, ultimately would be the person who would decide whether or not they can be extradited or should be and will be extradited to the UK to face charges. Right now, they are being held in, since they were arrested last weekend, they're being held in Miami. And of course, their attorneys are trying to fight extradition because, again, remembering they were in trouble over there before overseas, and they flew into Fort Lauderdale to great fanfare and ta-da, like cult heroes, worship heroes, um, in terms of the relationship between them, supposedly, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, between them and Barron apparently got kind of into them because, remember, in 2024, there was this concerted effort to get the manosphere going, to get the younger male voters, into the MAGA camp. And so apparently the Tate brothers stood for, a lot of what was drawing them in. Here's what I want to look at. Marco Rubio's got a situation on his hands because, on the one hand, he's the person who the buck stops in terms of deciding whether they will be extradited to the UK. On the other hand, a lot of folks in the MAGA camp are saying these are our folk heroes. These are legends. You don't ship our guys back over there. So, Spirit, Marco Rubio, is he going to I'm hearing, is he going to do a Todd Blanche with Ghislaine Maxwell kind of situation, right? Work out a sweetheart deal or something. Is Marco Rubio going to work out a deal to protect, essentially, protect the Tate brothers from being extradited? We have intensity, Knight of Wands, really pressure from the MAGA base to intervene on the Tate brothers' behalf. Will Rubio, the Queen of Wands, there's someone who will, probably in Congress, who will speak up very loudly about any efforts by Rubio to protect or delay the Tate brothers being extradited. The Dream, Six of Cups. This is a review of what they've done in the past, the charges against them relating to minors and other things. I mean, so much of it is just feels like a replica of the horrors of Epstein. Nine of Cups. This is Marco Rubio and the Chariot. They call it awareness here. Rubio doesn't want this headache. He really does not want this headache. He does feel stuck in between two extremes. On the one hand, he doesn't want to be seen as the one from the MAGA base responsible for turning over some of their own. And again, these guys were just rubbing elbows with the most, the powerful elites in DC at this club, Ned's, days before they were back in Miami and arrested. There's a lot going on there. And that's that Chariot. Rubio knows that, and he knows there's a wish by many to protect them, to protect the Tate brothers. Aloneness, the hermit. I don't think Rubio's going to be able to hold off on them facing repercussions but so long. There's a steadfastness in the hermit. There's a sometimes you have to go it alone. So I think Rubio, if he feels like it is more politically expedient for him to be seen as the guy who's willing to take this on, he will do so, but not without a long protracted delay. He wants to, and traveling, exactly. I think this is, after a long delay, they probably will get turned over because the obvious machinations around rallying, around them to keep them here under what pretext. Now, the second thing I want to ask, though, is, do the Tate brothers have some sort of damaging info that they could, if cornered, again, another Ghislaine Maxwell kind of situation? Will the Tate brothers release some damaging info around the Front family? Stress, Seven of Wands. They're I don't know, I don't want to say they're threatening to do so, but they are under stress, and the realization that whatever they know and the real extent of their relationships, not just with Don Jr. or and again, for entertainment purposes only, not only with the Don Jr. or Barron, but like, again, rubbing elbows with all these insiders in DC. Ten of Cups. The Sun, innocence. So they want to be found innocent by agreeing to keep their mouths shut and look out for the people who they've helped, or the people who have helped them, keeping them elevated, the manosphere folk. And the Lovers, exactly. I think they're gonna strike some sort of deal that either, if you can find a way to protect us if we are extradited, so that we will maintain innocence, yours and ours. They're gonna strike a deal with them, because those guys know some things. And I'm not saying I'm not getting to the extent that there's been this parallel spirit's been showing between the Tate brothers and Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. It was a different type of operation. This is more with the Tate brothers. It's more of a philosophical, ideological practice that they've been espousing, and certainly not on the level of, the money and actual transactions that occurred when Epstein was around. But the parallels are there. You get it, right? All right. The other thing I want to look at, talking again about Marco Rubio, is he released a 140-page report this week on this whole, you're hearing now all of this stuff about communism and far left extremists, and heralding all this. Watch out, the country's teetering and bordering on just going too far left. Rubio is really championing this as it relates to also a potential takeover of Cuba. I am wondering if, in the eyes, knowing that the Iran situation is it's gonna blow up, and I hate to even use that term because he's talking now. Trump is talking about massive attacks. But at the end of the day, this is going to result, if this administration continues to amp up, this does result in basically them being down the road charged with crimes against humanity. Period. Spirit has said that. Political experts have said it. It's known. This is going to result in charges against this regime and those who aided and were complicit in it. So the Rubios of the world, the Hegseths of the world, et cetera, et cetera. This is going to result in charges against humanity. Is Rubio trying to circumvent that to an extent because he's trying to gain a chokehold on Latin America? We already know he's wheeling and dealing in Venezuela. His plans for Cuba, is he basically trying to, what Spirit is saying essentially, is he trying to grow his influence, U.S. and Latin America, to offset and get support to offset and have off ramps when he is included in these charges of crimes against humanity? That's the bottom line. Is he planning 17, the star, and control King of Swords? That's his plan. Long term, the star. It says silence there, but that's his plan. This has been something in the works with him for a while, and I'm not going to ignore it. There's a breakthrough that comes with creativity. The Empress. Yes, you all. I knew it. Rubio's plan, because he knows that strictly in terms of what his function here in the U.S. is leading him down, he's decided to commit himself to it. He's sold his soul. He's going to go completely fascist all the way there, right? But his when he thinks it's going to be his an ace up his sleeve is this domination, if you will, throughout Latin America, so that he thinks the leaders there will protect him, and he will have some sort of means of escape. Spirit, am I getting that right? That's the plan. He wants to have that, an understanding. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's his plan. He wants to solidify. It's not just about taking over or positioning himself as a leader in these countries in Latin America, Venezuela, Cuba, etc. It is also about getting their support that, hey, if you need us, we're there for you. If it gets too thick, you can come here and we can handle it together. That's his plan. And it's really, really not surprising anymore, but I do believe that many in DC, because of Rubio's background, like him or not, agree with him or not, but just to see him actually go completely all the way there has been quite a down the tubes. All right, you all, that's what I have today. That's what Spirit led me to. I hope it was helpful. I hope it gave you some insight. Keep your eyes open for this. I'm not going to read on it right now. It just seems a little too bizarre, but it is a real thing apparently. This airplane evangelism, have you heard about that? So apparently this is like a TikTok trend, but a real thing. Like, it's gone viral, where they're calling it airplane evangelism, where you got pastors or people going on airplanes, and so to a captive audience, jumping up with guitars or sermons in the middle of a flight or while beginning to board or deboard, and doing the whole evangelist thing. Like, that's another area that the that the MAGA folk especially have decided is uh a breeding ground or something for people. Like, I wish I would be on a plane and somebody try and keep me trapped in a seat with a sermon. You probably would. You'd see me on air, but you'd see me in a different way. I swear. It's interesting. All right, you all have a good weekend. Stay safe out there, right? Remembering that sky is above us and the earth is beneath us, and that is why we keep our chins up and our shoulders back and keep coming from our hearts. Always, always, always. All right? I'll talk to you a little later. Bye.